Guys, welcome back to the shop. In a previous episode, I made this screwdriver, and I really kind of screwed it up. Today, we're going to try again. I got another kit from Penn State Industries, another blank. I downloaded the directions so we can follow them this time, so let's give this another shot.
Okay, so I'm going to mark corner to corner. I want to find the center of both sides of the blank, and then I'll head to the drill press. Taking a Forstner bit, and I'm drilling a hole the largest diameter of the piece that holds the shank of the screwdriver. This is where I went wrong the last time. I drilled it the smallest diameter and I tried to hammer it in place to kind of hold it. This time I'm going to drill it wide and then epoxy it in place. I'm checking for the proper depth to make sure that I come right to the end with the piece that has to go in. This screwdriver allows you to flip the bit around. So I need to allow a clearance hole for the other end of the screwdriver when you flip the main shank around. And that's what this hole allows me to do, is to give me clearance for that other side of the bit. I'm checking the depth. I want to make sure I can get the entire shank all the way down there without obstruction. Go ahead, setting it up on the lathe, and I'm going to do a rough turning and bring it down to size. I'm checking the inner diameter of the ferrule at the end, because I want to go ahead and turn it down to just fit that inner diameter. Every now and then I'm going to grab the calipers and check to see how far I went down. I don't want to overshoot this, so I'm going to go ahead and sneak up on an exact fit. This wood is fun to turn. You can just see it come off in sheets as I turn this down slightly. I'm going to take a tiny bit off each time and then check again to make sure I don't overshoot it. I'm going to go ahead and check the brass end piece to see what diameter to turn that down to. Unfortunately, the camera ran out of battery, so I lost that footage. The tenon at the end for the ferrule, I want to make sure that I've taken enough meat off to allow for the entire ferrule to go down to the bottom. I'm going to take my parting tool here and I'm going to do a slight undercut, just so that the furrow will sit down nice and tight on the shoulder there. This is something I didn't do in the first one, and you can see a gap, so I'm hoping that this undercut will prevent that from happening. I'm going to go ahead and check the outer diameter of the furrow so I know how far to turn the front end of this piece of blank down to. I want to just turn it down right to the outside diameter. I'm going to go ahead and periodically check like I did for the tenon part. I don't want to overshoot this. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to start turning down the blank. Now that I established how far to go on each end, I can just put a nice shape into this piece. I don't want it to be too fat, but I also don't want it to be too thin. Part of the problem with the other one is when I had to turn it down to get the wobble out, I think the screwdriver is just a little bit too thin. So I want to keep this one a little more thicker. I'm going to go ahead and take my parting tool and I'm going to trim this down at the end. I want to take a good amount of material off, but I still want to leave it attached. I'll go ahead and cut it off with a saw when I'm done, but I still have to sand and apply the finish, so I still want to be able to turn it to do that. I'm going to sand 120, 240, and 320. I'm not going to go any further than that because I'm going to apply an oil and wax finish. So 320 is about as far as I really need to go. Go ahead and apply some mineral oil. Let it soak in. And now I'm going to apply some paste wax. I'm going to apply it and then buff it out. I went to the drill press and I drilled the hole for the end brass piece. This didn't go so well. I didn't really get it too well, and you'll see that at the end. I really need to find a better way to do this. The furrow at the end wasn't quite as tight as I'd like it, so I went and applied some epoxy to kind of fill a little bit of the gap and hold it on. It seemed to work okay. I just went ahead and hit it down, and then wiped away any of the squeeze out. I'm going to go ahead and put in this center piece. I gobbed it up with epoxy, and I'm just going to go ahead and tap it down in place. This went in a lot easier since the hole was bigger, and now I'm just going around and taking some epoxy and filling those gaps. And that'll help hold the piece in place and keeps it much straighter than the first time I tried this. I'm going to allow the epoxy to sit there and soak in for a little bit, and then I just go ahead and wipe away the excess. Going to go ahead and flip it over, add a little epoxy to the end, and hammer in the end piece. You can see that hole's not perfectly centered. That's what makes this end cap go a little off center. I had a little bit of trouble getting this piece in too. The hole was a little smaller than the end piece. So I went ahead and I filed down around the post to kind of give it a little wedge shape so it would act more like a nail. And once I did that, I was able to get this in relatively easy. I'd still like to find a better way to do this though. It's not in there perfectly center.
Okay. I thought this one went much better, but I cannot get this down in there. I can't get this all the way down. There's a little bit of wood holding it up. Man, this never goes well, does it? What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a drill and see if I can match a drill to the size and just bore this out a little. Hopefully that'll do the trick. Let me head over to the drill press. I thought I got it this time too.
I found a drill to the exact inner diameter of this piece. Should have tightened my vise down here a little bit. Let's try that again. I just went ahead and bored it out. There was a little bit of wood stuck in there, and since this piece fit the exact inner diameter, I was hoping it would work.
Okay, worked a lot better. Can flip it around, keep it in there. Let me show you what is wrong with it. Right here there's a little bit of a lip. I turned this down a little too far. That doesn't really bother me too much. The other issue is I didn't really get this centered on the back there. But it is what it is. I'm not really going to worry about it too much. Overall, a little better shape than this one. This one feels a little small. You know, this feels like you can get some meat on it. Maybe could have turned it down a little more, but not that bad. So, I'm happy. Okay, thanks for coming to my shop. See you next time.